if you look at the most successful people in the world, people that have done very, very well financially, one of the things that you see as a common denominator is that they went through a phase where they did sales for some period of their life. They did it. Whether it's David Ogilvy doing, door-to-door sales, or, there's just, people selling pots and pans, or, they sold Girl Scout cookies when they were a kid, or newspaper subscriptions. You just find that early on in a lot of careers, people did one-to-one sales. And then they went on to doing marketing. Now, what most people want to do is they want to do the marketing first so that they can hopefully skip ever having to do the sales. And I think that this is a huge mistake. And I think you're robbing yourself if you try to skip doing sales. You're robbing yourself, and you're actually robbing your clients as well, because when you learn professional sales, like really conscious, intentional professional sales, when you learn it, you practice it, you become great at it, you become a much better coach. Okay, much, much stronger coach. In fact, I would go as far as to say, as if you haven't learned and practiced sales to the point where you're competent, then you almost can't be a great coach. Right? It's almost impossible to be a great coach because you haven't learned how people really work. You haven't learned how to motivate people to do the things they need to do to get the results that they want. Because a lot of coaching actually is sales, but I mean the professional kind, the conscious kind of sales. Right? So people want to just skip the sales. They want to go right to marketing. Eben, just give me an ad. Tell me the headline. What do I write? So that the clients just call me up, the fish jump into the boat, and I don't ever have to worry about any of that bad rejection stuff. All right. Let me ask a question. Why would it be useful to go through rejection and have to go through a bunch of it in your life? Why would it be useful to have to go through a bunch of rejection? Put it in the chat. Why would it be useful? Why would it be useful to have to go through a bunch of rejection? To learn what works and why, to learn that it's not about you. I'm reading some of these. To learn areas you need to improve, to learn to not personalize it. Our clients experience this. That's a good one, by the way. That's a good empathic insight. Not to take it personally, the learning curve, the feedback, to know what not to do, right? Because what if they say, I'm ready? Okay, I don't understand that one. It builds resilience. You get feedback, go through the learning curve. Why would it be beneficial to go through, quote unquote, a bunch of rejection? Well, here, let me give you a couple of reasons that aren't even about coaching. Well, how about this? Who here has children? Has anyone here who has a child ever made a proposal to your child that the child either objected to or rejected? Anyone ever had that? Have you ever seen parents that when they ask their child to do something and the parent says no, or, I don't want to, or you can't make me, that the parent just takes it so super personally and either gets their feelings hurt or they get upset or whatever. They respond to it like the child just said, you're not a valid human being. You shouldn't be recognized as a person. You're a loser. Has anyone ever seen a parent do that? I know none of us here have ever done this before, but has anyone ever seen a person that took it personally when their child rejected them? Anyone? Anyone ever seen that happen? Okay. I maybe have done that once or twice myself with my child, but probably not. It's other unenlightened people only have these kinds of problems. Well, one reason for it is it makes you a much better parent, because then when your child gives you an objection or a rejection, instead of taking it personally and being like, oh, you don't love me or whatever, you just go, oh, well, that's not what they wanted to do right now. And it doesn't mean anything about me. It just means that that's not what they wanted to do. What about with your romantic partner? You ever made a proposal to your romantic partner that they either objected to or rejected and you got really upset and you took it personally, got your feelings hurt? I know that this probably has never happened to anyone here. Oh, look at this. I see a couple of hands going up. Stefan's going, yep, that happened to me one time. Just one time though, right? it is super useful and valuable to go through quote unquote rejection. It's really valuable because once you take on the mindset, I mean, when I'm working with folks in our program or I'm doing demos, sometimes I do them live in front of big audiences and so forth. If somebody doesn't like what I'm doing or they don't want to talk to me or they don't like the thing, I mean, look, I know that I am there to help them understand and get clarity on what they want to achieve and what they want to avoid. And I know that I'm there to understand it myself. And I know that my success rides on it. I know their success rides on it. And I need to get to the bottom line as quick as I can. I need to know, is this a motivated, right, serious person who really wants to do something with their life? And if they don't, then I don't want to work with them. So if I'm starting to ask them questions and they're kind of seeming resistant and why are you asking so many questions, or I don't really want to answer this stuff, or I'm not comfortable talking about it, I'm happy. I am grateful that I found that out now rather than 2 months into a coaching package where I'm trying to grab them by the horns and, drag them, along. That's not what I want. I don't want that at all. I'd much rather have the rejection up front so I can say, oh, not a match? That's great. It's totally great that it's not a match. Here are some resources to help you get the result you want. Let's move on. One of my favorite things to do, by the way, one of my very favorite things to do is to tell someone that I've just started talking to, I'm not a good match for you. Okay, let me say that again. One of my favorite things to do is to tell someone that I've been talking to for 5 or 10 minutes, you know what, I'm not going to be a good match for you. Whether it's someone that is an entrepreneur and they're looking for investment in their business, a prospective client, whatever, right? Because if in 5 minutes I can tell that I'm not the person for them, and I can tell them, hey, you know what, I'm not going to be a good match for you because here's why. This isn't my ballpark. I don't specialize in that. We're probably not going to be a good match. Here are a couple of resources. Here's some help for you. Let's move on. I just gave them back an hour, or me back an hour, or both of us, and they can get on to go find somebody who would be a good match for them. And the next piece of this that's even, more counterintuitive, but it turns out to be true. If you tell another person that you don't want to work with them, does their respect for you go down or does it go up? Think about this for a minute. Does it go down or does it go up when you tell them that you don't want to work with them? This stuff's amazing. I learned about a lot of this in the dating world again. I learned that it was it would be quite useful if I was, I don't know, standing at a nightclub or something and talking to an attractive woman, and we were talking, and she would like touch me while we were talking. If she would like put her hand on me to like make a comment or to like say something, and I would just look at it and I'd stand back and I'd say, a little space, I'm not that kind of guy or something. And I would say it serious enough that for a second she thought that she offended me, like she like violated my personal boundary. And then of course I would laugh because I was just kidding and I was making a joke. But the point is that and I mean, I know some of the people that teach the dating stuff, they go and they do really super manipulative things, and I'm not into any of those kind of things. But it is good to flirt and it is good to have fun. But here's the key piece, that if you're talking to someone and they're, a self-confident, attractive person, and they reach over and touch you and you say, don't touch me there. And they go, oh, I'm really sorry. And then you laugh and so forth. What this communicates to them in a short time is you are not afraid of offending them. And respect goes up. All right. So one of the things that I've learned about sales and about getting affluent clients, like getting really successful clients, is the sooner that you start qualifying them, the sooner that their respect for you goes up.